There was a girl, a very strong girl, independent, self-sufficient, different. She was about your age, and she didn't have a lot of friends or anything, just a few good ones. That's all she needed. Friendship, true friendship, close friendship was important to her. So, she tried to be genuine, and she expected the same. There was a boy who became one of these friends. Now, this girl didn't just make friends easily. She was guarded, introverted, and skeptical of people. She'd been hurt in the past. But something told her to trust him, that she was meant to. So she did. Because friendship meant so much to her, she tried to be the best friend she could to him, a true friend, the kind of friend she'd want. She was always there for him when no one else was, to help, to advise, or to just listen, to understand, because only she could. He was different. They were very much alike, incredibly so, unusually so. It seemed almost destined, almost fate. They completed each other, black and white, yin and yang, until he left. She was hurt, yes, more deeply than she'd like to admit, but mostly she was angry at herself. How could she have been so stupid, so juvenile, so desperately idiotic as to believe she had found someone like herself? Someone different. Why had she been wrong? She tried to forget about him, to bury the entire injurious affair permanently and just move on, but she couldn't forget about it. She couldn't close the door completely. Something stopped her. He came back. He apologized. She couldn't trust him, but she gave him a second chance, and she began to try to forgive. And for a while, it seemed like everything could get better. Like maybe she hadn't been wrong after all. He promised he would never do that to her again, and then he did. Her pain was extreme, but silent and cold with disbelief. Disgusted by her own stupidity at trusting him a second time, she sealed herself inward. Away from the world, away from people. She'd had enough. Hope only ended in pain. Trust wasn't worth it. True friendship didn't exist. The clandestine suffering retreated further and further into her depths as the months passed, but no matter how much she hated herself because of it, she still couldn't close the door. Something wouldn't let her. Much time passed. She forgave him. She moved on. She could even remember him with thankfulness instead of hate. She let him go. He contacted her, months later, guiltily, meekly, contrite. He apologized. He admitted to taking her for granted. He said everything she wanted to hear, but it was a few days before she could respond. He had come to realize he needed her right as she had remembered she didn't need him. What was the right thing to do? Part of her remembered the hurt and wanted to scream at him about it, wanted to refuse, wanted to forget. Forbade her to be stupid and spineless enough to be there whenever he decided to show up, but another part of her missed. Eventually, after many sleepless nights, she realized that a good friend, a true friend, the friend she thought she was, would not put a limit on forgiveness, would be there regardless of pride or fear of hurt, and so she was. And this time, it worked. They worked. Black and white. Yin and yang, amaranthine, like it was meant to be. She hadn't been mistaken on the who, just the when. It hadn't been the right time, but now it is, and it's beautiful.